Well, let's bring in Sami Al-Arian, the Director of the Centre for Islam and Global Affairs at Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University. Sami, thanks very much for your time. The displacements of Palestinians really appears to be reaching breaking point now, as we hear that almost every person who lives there has had to move not once or twice, but perhaps up to a dozen times with no safe place to turn.
That's right. What we're witnessing now is the Israeli attempt at the forced displacement of the Palestinians. It's an ongoing campaign that Trump started talking about, which Israel wanted for the longest time since the beginning of the war. What Israel wants is to make Gaza unlivable, to make the population unable actually to sustain any kind of living. We've seen that they have suspended all food, all fuel, all water, all medical supplies in order to induce this. They have been trying to encourage other countries to take as many Palestinians as they could, but they have also faced stiff Arab opposition to this plan because it's going to destabilize the whole region, not only the neighboring countries, Egypt and Jordan.
And the pressure does appear to be ramping up on Hamas. You mentioned the blockade of aid. The question is, how much more can the people of Gaza take? And how much longer can Hamas hold out before, inevitably, it has to agree to a ceasefire? Is that how you see things playing out?
I mean, Hamas and the other resistance movements have been saying that they want the end of this war. So it's not a matter whether Hamas wants a ceasefire. It has been seeking a ceasefire since the beginning of this genocide. What's happening here is that Israel does not want to stop the war until it reaches what it's called absolute victory or total victory, meaning the surrender of the resistance movements, and that's not going to happen. So we're going to see more suffering as long as the United States and other world powers allow it to happen. Israel is not even hiding the fact that it is starving the Palestinians, it is killing the Palestinians, displacing the Palestinians. It's an open secret right now. Everybody knows what Israel is trying to do. It's whether enough pressure would be applied in order to get this genocide stopped.
Because, of course, as far as Israel is concerned, a ceasefire and a permanent end to the war are two very different things. But a ceasefire, at the very least, would create a small pause in the suffering. And that is where they are applying the pressure to try to achieve that. Do you suspect that Hamas will agree to that in the coming days or weeks?
Well, we had an agreement last January in which dozens of captives were released in exchange for a three-stage negotiated settlement by which at the end the war would end. Israel broke this back on March, about a month ago, and we've been trying to get back, or at least the negotiators, the mediators and others have been trying to get back to it. The problem here is the United States has been supporting the Israeli position all along, and it has reneged on its promise and its guarantee that this negotiation would take place even as the first stage ended. Now we're going into another phase of negotiations. It seems like we're imminent that there's going to be another batch of captives being released in exchange for about 5 or 6 weeks of negotiations. Whether Israel would wake up and starts to stop this genocide and listen to the world community is an open question. The resistance on its part is not going to negotiate its demise. It's not going to disband, disarm, and leave. So this is now up to the other parts of the negotiations, the mediators and world powers, to pressure the Israelis to stop the suffering of the Palestinians. Enough is enough. Tens of thousands of people have been killed, hundreds of thousands have been injured, and millions have been displaced over and over again. And the whole world is not looking at this Palestinian suffering. They're only looking at few dozens of captives, and that's all what they're talking about. And it's time now for the Muslim world, for the Arab world, for the whole world community to say that this suffering must end and must end immediately.
Sami, we thank you for joining us here on the News Hour. Appreciate your analysis. Sami Al-Arian there here in Istanbul.